do a quick review of how we can use the history brush to remove some dark spots or freckles or acne, anything that's darker than the normal tones of skin. And so we'll go ahead and do a quick review of how we use the Gaussian Blur and the history brush to do that. Follow these steps, and the listing is provided to you at Google Classroom. So step number one is go ahead and get your image. And step two is what we want to do is we want to add some blur. So I'll come up here to Filter, Blur, choose Gaussian Blur, and then it's probably starting out over here, way over on the left, so move that to the right. And you just want to get this image blurred to some level that we think will just really remove most of the dark that we want. Give us a way to even up the skin tone. So I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. Click OK. And then the next step that's important here is to come up here to your history. And if you do not have the history window available, then you just come up to Window and choose History right there. Mine's already selected because there's a check mark there. So this allows you to go forward and backward in time. So right now we're at Gaussian Blur, but what we want to do is click on either the open state, or here I duplicated the image, so I'm going to go back to where it's not blurry. But then I want to selectively add in that blur effect. And so what I will do is over here we have what we call the history state window. And so it sets the source for what you want the history brush to do. And so I want to set it so that my history brush will paint back in this blur. So then the next step is to come over to your tools and select the history brush. It looks like a brush with a counterclockwise arrow indicating going backwards in time. Once you click that, you have some options that show up. You're probably in the normal mode. And so what we want to do is select the lighten mode. And the lighten mode will allow us to affect only the pixels that are darker than the surrounding skin tone. And then the other thing is that we don't want to make it too obvious that we are making these changes. And so we're going to set this at about 60%. And the other thing you might want to do even before that history brush is go ahead and zoom in a little bit. So I'll go ahead and go in on the forehead, and you can see we got these dark spots here. And so what I will do is select the history brush, and I'm in this lighten mode, and so you can see right here there's some dark spots there, and if I click and just kind of paint through there, you see that it lessens those. And so I'm going to go through, and I don't want to make it too obvious. I'm just going to, make it less. I'm not going to try to make myself look like I'm 16 years old. We just want less of this dark stuff here, especially if you're going to be printing this picture. You just want to make some touch-ups. Was out camping, haven't shaved in a few days. We're going to lessen some of that. Just kind of smooth it up a little bit. Tough getting old. Ew. There we go. So that's it. That's how you use the art history brush, just to reduce some of the dark issues and smooth out some skin tone. And if you do it right, it improves it, and nobody knows what you did. So experiment with several images so that you get pretty good at using that. And that's just another tool to have as you go through and create your Photoshop projects. And one last thing to do on that is go ahead and bring up the before picture. There it is. Just so you can compare those. And then if you're going to show it to me, have me come around, take a look at that. And before and after. Definitely improvements.